Hey everyone, welcome back to Homemaking with Rebecca. Today we're making white chicken jalapeno enchiladas, and I have got some poached chicken here. So I just put this in a skillet and poached it, and I'll show you how I did that. So I've got 2 chicken breasts here. I'm going to get them in this skillet and I'm going to salt and pepper them up really well. And then I'm just going to pour some water over it, and I'm going to bring that water to a boil and then turn it down to a simmer. And we're going to let these cook for about 20-25 minutes. These were really big chicken breasts, so it took them a little while to cook. You just want to get them really good and done. You want to check the center with a thermometer and see once they get to like 160, then they should be really good and done. And then you just want to let them rest for a few minutes. So now this has been sitting and cooling for about 15 minutes. I'm going to put this in my mixer bowl to shred it up. You could also use 2 forks to shred it up, but it works pretty good to put in here. So it's fully cooked. We're going to stick it in here. And I am going to use my paddle here, and we're just going to get this all shredded up. We're going to use this same skillet again, but we want to keep this nice broth because we're going to use that for our sauce. Put that right there. So you just want to turn that on about medium speed, and you just want to mix it up until all the chicken gets nice and shredded up. And if there's any other bigger chunks, you can just kind of pull those apart with your fingers, but that looks pretty good to me. Here's the rest of our ingredients. Now I normally use a Monterey Jack cheese, but I didn't have that this time, so we're using mozzarella. We've got butter, flour tortillas, sour cream, flour, jalapenos, onion powder, garlic powder, salt and pepper, and then our chicken broth. And so we're going to make our sauce for that, and I'm going to show you how I do that. So we're going to get our butter melted up here. I've got about 3 tablespoons, and then we are going to, now I didn't clean this skillet out because it just had chicken in it. We're going to be mixing this with chicken again, but while that is melting, we're going to be working on grating our cheese up. I usually use the whole stick for this. We're switching back over here to our butter. It's gotten all melted, and we're just making a simple roux here. We're going to put our flour in there. Going to mix that in, and we'll let it cook for a minute or so, and then we're going to add in our broth. You're going to need about 2 cups of chicken broth for this. This is one of those recipes you either really like or you really don't like. If you like spicy stuff, if you like jalapenos and chicken, then I think you'll like it. This is not a recipe. I don't usually make this as a family recipe because most of my kids don't love jalapenos and they don't like stuff that is super spicy. And so I like to make this for Shane for his lunches, and he loves for me to just package this up. I'll put 2 enchiladas in 1 package, and I can put those in the freezer, and then he can have them for his lunches. And so that works out really nice for him. This is 2 cups of the chicken broth that we poached the chicken in. We're going to stir that in and then let it thicken up. Also going to add some salt here, some pepper, we're going to do some garlic powder and some onion powder. You just want to bring this to a boil and then let it simmer, and it's going to be a nice thick gravy. So you can see our sauce is thickened up really nice here. I'm going to taste it to kind of see if it needs anything added to it. That's really good. And we're going to go ahead and turn this off and start mixing together the rest of our ingredients. So this was 2 really big chicken breasts, and we're just going to get them in there. That's about 3 cups. So I've got 3 more cups that I can do something else with. And then we've got sour cream here. You want about 1 cup of sour cream. This is going to be about 2 cups, this whole container. So we're just going to put half of this in there. I usually use this whole jar of jalapenos, but if you don't want that much, you don't have to use as much. Go ahead and get our sauce mix in here. This recipe came from my friend Lee Cron, and I actually got it from her even before I was married. So I've had it a really long time, and I knew that Shane would like it because he loves jalapenos. I've tweaked it a little bit over the years, but it's mostly the same. All right, so we got half of that. And I just like to get some of the juice in there, but pretty much all of the jalapenos. So I don't like to get all the juice just until I can kind of see what the consistency is. And if I want to add some more, I can. To kind of thin it out, I can add a little more. We'll see. Ooh, those are some really big jalapenos. They're usually a lot smaller than that. We're going to give it a little bit of a taste. That's really good. So you can see I used about half of the jalapeno juice. I didn't use all of it, and I just scooped the jalapenos out. So I've got a 9x13 pan over here. I'm going to spray this just so everything doesn't stick in the bottom. So this is how I like to fill mine. I like to use half the cheese in my enchiladas, and then I like to put the rest of it on top. So we're putting some cheese on there, and we're putting some of our chicken mixture here. We'll fold in the sides, roll it up. We're going to stick it in the pan. We're just going to do that with all of these. This is 10 tortillas. Sometimes it might make 8, sometimes it might make 10. So just going to kind of depend. So what I like to do is cook these and then let them cool completely. And then I'll take 2 at a time and I'll wrap them up in some foil and put them in the freezer. And then they can just be in those little packs, and Shane can grab them out and just take them to work with him, and they can kind of thaw throughout the day, and then he can just heat them up at work. So you've got, if you get 10, you know, that's 5 meals right there. So it's really nice to have that you can just grab and go with it. I'm going to do one more. You want to have some of the enchilada mixture left over that you can kind of put on top, and that helps keep everything nice and moist and creamy. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to roll this one up, put it in here. Get these all situated. And then I'm just going to pour the rest of this over top. Spread it out on there so it gets everything covered. Put the rest of the cheese on there. pop it in the oven. We're going to pop in the oven 350 for about 20 to 30 minutes just till everything gets heated up and nice and bubbly. All right, our enchiladas are done, so we're going to get them out of the oven and see how they look. Look how great those look. They're going to be so delicious. I wish you could have smelled them coming out of the oven. They smelled so good. Check out the description below for this recipe, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.